views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open, the one and only show bringing the best of the Bronx, New York, and the world straight to you. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we discuss race and the social constructs rooted in myth throughout the United States, Africa, and the Caribbean when we sit with the Caribbean Cultural Center's newest exhibition, Race, Myth, Art, and Justice. After that, we'll have the opportunity to sit with Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, the creator of La Borinqueña, a superhero representing the island of Puerto Rico and social justice. Then we'll talk to the multi-talented Flaco Navaja about his upcoming performance in the evolution of a Sonero and what people should expect this time around. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us up to date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And finally, our Open Artist Spotlight features R&B artist and Harlem native Joe FuEgo, who will share his musical journey and perform one of his singles at the end of today's show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way because now we are officially open. Hello and welcome to Open Everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, don't forget, while you're there, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, LinkedIn, Snapchat at Rhina Valentin. All right, so the Sparkling Heart of Fordham is having its 14th annual event, bringing hundreds of visitors from the Bronx together. Attendees will have the opportunity to meet Santa, receive some early presents, and see some of New York's talented performers. The event will be taking place today, Friday, December 7th, at Bryant Park and East Fordham Road and Kingsbridge, and that's happening from 6 to 9 p.m. 'Tis the season. All right, so throughout the United States, Africa, and the Caribbean, the ideas of race and social injustice have always been and continue to be a topic of discussion. And well, now the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute's newest exhibition, Race, Myth, Art, and Justice, explores all these topics through the camera lens of 12 photographers. And joining us to tell us more about the exhibition, we welcome Race, Myth, Art, and Justice co-curator, Daniel Dawson. Hello.
Thank you, Rhina. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for creating or curating such a relevant topic. And let's begin with the topic itself and how that title even came about.
Well, the topic was actually created by Marta Vega, the ex-director of the Caribbean Cultural Center. And through discussion, we came up with the title themes, with the topic themes. But it's something that the center's been doing for 35 years, or more, actually, addressing the condition of the African diaspora on this planet, and that just plays right into that.
Right, well, that's the Caribbean Cultural Center's mission, right? And
right.
So this particular exhibition being done through photography and depicting, I'm sorry, my throat, really diving into certain topics that are obviously socially relevant and unfortunately seem to keep repeating themselves.
Right.
So in curating and seeking these photographers, how is it that you are telling the story through imagery?
Well, it's funny because both myself and Grace Ali, who's the other curator, we actually have a whole series of friends who are curators, but who are photographers, but who've been working with the theme all their lives too. Because it's not hard to address the theme. In fact, you have to avoid the themes if you're an artist because it's so present in our lives that we have to do that. So when we looked at the artists, all the artists actually have work that addresses that on multiple levels too. Some directly, some in a really subtle way too. So, but the themes are, if you're conscious as an artist, the themes are there in your work.
Right, and so here's the thing though. Within, like, let's say our culture, people of color culture, this always seems to be the topic. So if somebody's going in there, will they be depressed or will they be enlightened?
Well, they'll be both. Well, actually, they won't be depressed because depression comes if you think there's no solution. But they will be enlightened. And they will also see the kind of various ways that artists can address the same theme. Because some do it directly, literally. Some will do it in a much more abstract manner. Some will do it in ways that you don't even notice that they're addressing the themes. Because they could become much more abstract in terms of how they approach the theme. But the theme is still there nonetheless, So it's another way also of looking at the multiple levels that we exist on.
Right.
What do we do during our daily lives? We aren't depressed all day long. We're still in the same kind of oppressive social conditions, but we have different moments of enlightenment, moments of joy, moments of understanding. So this is a moment of understanding, but use kind of variety of artistic means for understanding.
And the reason I even mention that is because we happen to be going through some really challenging times right now. I mean, we have been for quite some time, but they're just really extreme right now. And just the imagery that's being put out there through the media, through the news, and just through newspapers, it's really disheartening.
Well, I don't know, because what I think it is in fact, it's kind of heartening in the sense that you don't have any illusions. You aren't given the kind of luxury of an illusion. They're telling you exactly what they're doing and how they're going to do it. So, you don't have to act as though, you're mistaken, maybe you misinterpreted. No, you didn't. You got it right. This is their intention. But it's always been that intention for the most part. It makes us mobilize another way. It makes us become much clearer another way. So I think it's an interesting time, too. It's a harsh time, but it's a time that calls for another kind of strength.
Got it, and that's where these exhibitions come into play. So how many photographers are
12 photographers. 12.
So how many images will people experience?
Well, it depends because there's a variety of images. They all don't have a lot of pieces. They all don't have single pieces either. So it depends on the artist. Some have 4 pieces, some have 3 pieces, some have 1. But it depends on how their ideas are best expressed too.
Okay, and so in race, myth, art, and justice, how are those images displayed? Like what type of messaging is it? Are we tapping into spirituality? Are we tapping into like just color? Are we tapping into scenarios within?
Well, actually, we're tapping into all kinds of. We're tapping into race, myth, art, and justice.
Right,
all
and
they all.
The reason I'm not, but I'm saying, what are the sub levels of what that message is?
Right. Well, they all run concurrent too, and some have, like for the cover that you're looking at on the booklet. The cover is by Radcliffe Roy, a Jamaican photographer, and that's literal, and that's the hoodie and the hands up in the cotton field. That's a historical reference and also a historical reference for past times of the kind of cotton as the industry that built this country, but also as the kind of the hoodie and the hands up symbol as contemporary life. So this is covering the myth and the history and the race, but it's also covering class and covering justice too. But that's one level. But there's other levels where the work is incredibly abstract, and you have to look at it closely to understand what's going on. There's some pieces like Ming Smith, who's valorizing a woman who worked as a waitress in one of the old restaurants in Harlem. But that is a subtle way of understanding justice, of understanding the validity of the so-called common person in the United States. So there are multiple levels in which the artists apprehend those ideas too. So if you're thinking you're going to be like propagandized or browbeaten, no, you're going to look at art that reveals our condition and also is uplifting too.
Beautiful. And so this is open to the public?
Open to the public, and it's it's opened already, and it's up until June 15th at the Caribbean Culture Center, and it's also free. There's no you don't have to pay to get in, but we have also kind of multiple visions of the world, looking at most of the artists have a background outside of the United States too. Although they might be living in the United States, many of them are from the Caribbean too, so there's a real mix of people in the show.
in the show. So are the gallery hours, what are the gallery hours?
Gallery hours are 9 until 6 o'clock.
9 until 6 o'clock. So you don't need to make an appointment?
No appointment, but we're not open on the weekends normally too. And also but we're going to have a whole series of events around the exhibit too. And one is called Giving Voice to Vision. That's where the artists will come in and talk about their work. And they're free and open to the public again. The first one is going to be on Thursday, December 13th, and it's going to be from 6 until 8. It's going to feature Radcliffe Roy from Jamaica and Adama Delphine Fawundu, who is an artist from Brooklyn. She was born in Brooklyn, but her mother's from Sierra Leone and her father's from Equatorial Guinea. So you're looking at Brooklyn, Jamaica, and Brooklyn, Africa.
Got it.
But they're both going to talk about their work that they have in the show too.
I love it. I love it. And there's the diaspora. There's the African diaspora.
Well,
thank you so
thank
much,
you,
Danny, for coming here.
But before I
and you
leave,
guys. For Race, Myth, Art, and Justice, it's actually currently on display. You can check that out at the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute, which is located at 120 East 125th Street, and that's happening until June 15th, excuse me. And if you're interested in obtaining more information regarding the topics we just discussed and the events that they have coming up, be sure to visit CCCADI.org. Once again, that's CCCADI.org. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out about an upcoming performance featuring Flaco Navaja.
thank you, Rhina.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good stir. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
And I can't change, even if I try, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Hello, and welcome to Open, everyone. Don't forget to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV, and while you're there, tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. Our next guest is no stranger to our viewers. That's right. He's a multi-talented artist that we have watched rise throughout the years. And well, now through the evolution of a sonero, he shares a love story of a kid learning the priceless hustle of show business. The play is full of humor and pays homage to great musicians such as Janis Joplin, Tu Menudo, Jimi Hendrix, hasta Rubén Blades, right? And well, that's seriously eclectic, right? So joining us to tell us more, we welcome poet, actor, singer, Flaco Navaja. Yay, Flaco!
Thanks for having me
Welcome
again.
back. I mean, you know, I'm doing the handshake formally, but we've been friends for how many years?
20 some odd.
Really? Because, you know, I live in denial, papi. I'm like, really, it's been 20?
Cut it in half por ahí, you know what I mean. Good to see you.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you here again. And, you know, while we did give everybody a sneak peek of the evolution of a sonero, that was your opening or your workshop period, right? So let's just share with our viewers what inspired this story and how that workshop weekend, sold out workshop weekend, I might add, served for you. What it served for you.
So it's a big task to kind of put a show together, especially when it's something personal material. So this show is very autobiographical. It's stories of my life, singing songs with my band. So that workshop production, it served as such a lesson for me to be able to work material out in front of an audience, get an immediate reaction. You get a feeling for what works, what doesn't. And so I learned a lot, and this show continues to evolve. And
great title, right? Just manifest it and keep manifesting it, because it's always going to be an evolution.
Absolutely. And it just talks about my trajectory as a human being, as an artist. I've been blessed with the opportunity to create for 20 years or so,
And let's just
this
share
is
with
a
everyone.
culmination of
Yeah,
all of this.
no, I want to share with everyone what that means when you say create, right? Because you are what, like a quadruple threat or something? Is there such a thing? I know there's a triple threat, but I mean, you're just amazing in all categories, as a poet, a singer, an actor. Well, triple threat would have been the dance, pero tú bailas también.
Me defiendo.
So are all those elements incorporated into this play?
Absolutely. This is an opportunity to showcase all of my skill set, but at the same time, it's really more about relating to the need for identity, the need for self-discovery, and to define yourself, and also the need for focus and the dangers of losing your way along the journey.
So when you say identity, we're referencing you as a Bronx boy who's Latino, who was raised with the fusion, of course, of salsa mixed with, we referenced Janis Joplin. Menudo was, that's a generation that pretty much gives up our age. Do you do Súbete a mi moto?
Well, my first ever talent show in the 3rd grade, I sang a Menudo song.
You do? Which one was it?
It was called Because of Love, the English one, that was sung by Robbie Rosa. So,
do you sing that in the show?
I do.
You do? Yeah, no, I mean, can we give that away? We could give that away, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Give whatever we got.
No, we want them to come see it.
It's a good show. You want to come see it.
Well, we want to relate. Well, I want them to relate to it, right? Because, there was a time where we had menuditis, and so for you menuditis, it may be reminiscent.
Well, I'm the youngest of 5. I'm the youngest of 5 children, right? I remember my sisters were so into Menudo that they took a picture of the television screen when Menudo came out on that show, Silver Spoons. I'm dating myself right now. But I remember that picture, So this show talks about my many influences. Being the youngest of 5, I inherited musical tastes from my siblings.
Right.
So they were into a lot of eclectic music. So I grew up listening to The Doors. I grew up listening to hip hop. I grew up listening to Hector Lavoe and the salsa, And all of those things, all of those influences, also the literary influences that I have had throughout my life, have helped create the artist that I've become. Also, experiences in life, life can beat you down, And with each cocotazo that life gives you, you learn lessons, hopefully.
Right.
And are able to kind of turn left when you should turn right, or vice versa, things like that. And this play talks about that, about the stumbles that I've had throughout my life, dealing with addiction and overcoming those things with faith, through prayer, through love for my wife and my children. And all of these things come together to to show you who I am now, who I'm trying to maintain being, and this continues to evolve, and that's what life is like. So this show is that. This show is a testament to influences, a testament to resilience of our people, and also a love letter to the Bronx and salsa.
Oh my gosh, how reminiscent, you know. Just listening to you, I can only imagine. I'm looking forward to seeing it this time around, now that you have a longer run. And so I understand you have something that you can give us a little taste with.
Absolutely.
Is it spoken word? Is it poetry?
Yeah, there's a poem that's a kind of an introductory poem of who I am.
Nice. So is that your love letter to us?
It's a love
or
letter.
Or to yourself?
We need self-love all the time.
All the time, baby. Look in that mirror.
This is more of a declaration of who I am.
Cool.
I be the son of hardcore South Bronx Puerto Rican nationalists. An aguinaldo, bomba y plena, salsa, rumba, singing actor, activist. Llevo el swing del sur del Bronx wherever I go, from the Seine in Paris to old San Juan's callejones. I was raised on a steady diet of Rafi Levi La Selecta, KRS-One, The Doors, Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin y música de protesta. I am the tree that grew from the seed planted by Rubén and Willie so many years ago. Siembra. I am Juana Peña and Pedro Navaja's illegitimate child. I am salsa. I am hip-hop. I am Puerto Rico. I am the South Bronx. My name is Flaco Navaja.
You get the snaps, Flaco. Thank you for giving us a taste and for bringing your authentic self here on our open set.
It's my pleasure.
Always, siempre, hermano, pa'lante. You guys, Flaco Navaja, I'm always in my glory when he's here.
So I'm at the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater, Evolution of a Sonero, the 13th of December through the 22nd. And yeah, tickets are on sale. They're going fast, so please check them out and spread the word. And yeah, thank you.
So before we go, what do you hope that you leave everyone with?
A sense of pride. There's always hope, and the need to tell our stories. And that's very important, is that we need to tell our own stories, and if we don't tell it, someone else will through their eyes, and it's important for us to maintain the control of the narrative of who we are as a people and our identity, and we need to control those stories, and that's important.
Thank you. And in addition to that, we need to support them.
Amen.
Yeah. All right, you guys, once again, the evolution of a sonero will be performed at the Pregones Puerto Rican Traveling Theater in Manhattan, and that's at 304 West 47th Street, and that's happening from December 13th through December 22nd. And for tickets, you can visit pregonesprtt.org. Bueno, stay tuned, you guys. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
I love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Has no choice. She and millions like her walk miles a day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. We begin on the college football gridiron. Tua Tagovailoa might have a bum ankle, but he's still making his rounds. Alabama flew the sophomore Heisman candidate to the College Football Hall of Fame on Thursday on a private plane ahead of the Home Depot College Football Awards show in Atlanta. The travel accommodations allow Tagovailoa to continue receiving treatment after having undergone surgery on his left ankle, injured during Saturday's SEC championship win over Georgia. The top-ranked Crimson Tide will face number 4 Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl on December 29th, giving the signal caller time to recuperate. Despite being up for numerous awards, he took home the 2018 Walter Camp Player of the Year title on Thursday. The Heisman finalists are in New York to ring the closing bell at the Stock Exchange today. The Associated Press announced that Kyler Murray has been named as its College Football Player of the Year. The Oklahoma quarterback and newly minted Heisman wagering favorite received 39 first-place votes and a total of 145 points, a sizable distance ahead of Tua, who garnered 13 first-place votes and 117 points. Dwayne Haskins, the Ohio State quarterback, who is the third of the 3 finalists for the Heisman, claimed 4 first-place votes and 55 points. I am torn on the Heisman, folks. More in the C list. Urban Meyer's job status was up in the air in August. The Ohio State football head coach has now taken it into his own hands. Meyer announced Tuesday that he will retire after the Buckeyes face Washington in the Rose Bowl on January 1st. Offensive coordinator Ryan Day will take over as head coach of the team. On the college basketball hardwood, better news here. St. John's remained undefeated, holding off winless Mount St. Mary's 85-71 to improve to 8-0 for the first time since 1990-1991. Some start for Chris Mullen and St. John's. The Florida men's basketball team fell in overtime in Maine Tuesday night, but the Bronx is still buzzing over the Battle of the Bronx last weekend. The Rams edged Manhattan in the closing seconds. We caught up with the stars of the game afterward. Check this out.
What does it feel like to be back for another Battle of the Bronx?
This is amazing. It's part of our Bronx DNA. You can feel the electricity here. So far, it's a great game. You can't get any better than this. This is a rivalry that goes back almost over a century. For me, the icing on the cake was to receive an award named after Jack Powers, who is a staple in this community, who played for this institution many, many years ago. I just want to thank President O'Donnell and all the good folks and fans that have done great for themselves, but also make it back to the Bronx to continue to witness this wonderful tradition.
As a graduate of Manhattan College, I'm glad to have him here. Coming here, getting a great opportunity to have a great life, and I'm thrilled that we have great representation. He represents us all beautifully.
Now, the teams in this rivalry, this goes back 111 years.
We had history with this team, but we were just trying to come out. We still taking every game one at a time, so we just came out, did what we had to do.
Well, you've had a knack for hitting these game-winning shots so far this year. Walk us through that play and tell us a little bit about this game. Such a tight game for both teams.
To be honest, it all happened so fast. We just wanted to get a good shot, and the main objective was to win the game. So whatever good look we could get, I found it. So it feels good. We definitely want to keep the momentum going, and it's a new year. So new year, new team, so new expectations.
You knew you were going to sink that shot, right?
Yes, sir.
Great night to be a Fordham Ram.
Yes, I agree. Great night. I love it. Felt really prepared coming into this game. We knew it was going to be a big game. We knew it was going to be close. It was going to come down to wire and wire. It was a great atmosphere, and we just glad we came out with a W.
We switch gears and go from the Bronx to Queens, where the Mets have new stars in the building. Mets executive Jeff Wilpon said the team aggressively pushed to acquire Edwin Diaz in part to block the rival Philadelphia Phillies from trading for the all-star closer. Wilpon, the Mets' chief operating officer and son of owner Fred Wilpon, joined General Manager Brodie Van Wagenen at a news conference Tuesday to introduce Diaz and all-star second baseman Robinson Cano. We were at the press conference Tuesday at Citi Field. Here's more.
Happy to be back in New York, and just can't wait for the season to start and be able to go out there and perform and help the teams to win a World Series. This organization, you know, I was across the street, so I know I play against a lot. Against them a lot, and also the fan base in New York, you know, greatest fans in baseball. For me, I play this game because I love to win.
I came here to win, man. To the Mets fans, we came here to win and try to reach the World Series and get the ring.
We will stay on the baseball hot stove. The first big free agent pitcher is off the market. Left-hander Patrick Corbin has agreed to a 6-year contract with the Washington Nationals, reportedly for $140 million. Sorry, Bronx Bombers. Additionally, Nathan Eovaldi will not be their answer and will continue to be their enemy, as the free agent right-hander agreed to a deal with the hated Boston Red Sox on Thursday. The contract is for 4 years and $67.5 million. The 28-year-old former Yankee was crucial for Boston last season when he came over in a trade and became an October hero for the World Series champions. With a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, he was untouchable in the playoffs, pitching to a 1.61 ERA spread between the rotation and the bullpen. The Yankees, who watched those two get away, now have one fewer trade target after the Cleveland Indians agreed to an extension with Carlos Carrasco. That keeps him under contract through 2022 with a vesting option for 2023. The St. Louis Cardinals have acquired all-star first baseman Paul Goldschmidt from the Arizona Diamondbacks in exchange for right-handed pitcher Luke Weaver, catcher Carson Kelly, and infielder Andy Young, the teams announced Wednesday. Goldschmidt, 31 and all-star each of the past 6 seasons, has a .290 batting average with 33 home runs, 83 RBIs, 35 doubles, and 90 walks last season. Nice pickup there for the Cardinals. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. From the NBA hardwood, the Brooklyn Nets host Toronto tonight. The Knicks, fresh off a 128-100 loss to Boston last night, will host the Nets Saturday night, and Bronx native Kemba Walker and the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday at the Garden. On the NFL gridiron, the Giants are in Washington Sunday for a 1 p.m. kickoff. The Jets kick off in Buffalo Sunday at 1. On the ice, Pittsburgh bested the Islanders 6-2. The Isles skate in Detroit Saturday night. Puck drops at 7. The Rangers are in Florida Saturday night. Game starts at 7. MLS Cup Final is also Saturday night. Atlanta and Portland gets underway at 8 p.m. The Giants did not activate running back Jonathan Stewart from the injured reserve list. His 3-week practice period expired, and his season with the Giants is now over after 6 carries for 17 yards. Stewart declined to comment earlier Thursday when asked about the decision. The G-men will also move forward without star Landon Collins, who is out with an injury. The unpredictability of the safety market already has muddled Collins' future with the Giants, who may end up using the franchise tag on him. Collins has 2 Pro Bowls and an All-Pro selection on his resume. He also has a lengthy recovery and uncertainty in his future after tearing his labrum in Sunday's overtime win against the Chicago Bears. The embattled Todd Bowles is the first coach in Jets history to have 3 straight 9-loss seasons. Asked if this job has been a bigger challenge than he anticipated, he said, "No, it's normal. It's a coaching job," he added. "I anticipated a lot of things in my life that didn't go quite as planned, but that doesn't make it any more challenging than the next job." Digital Kareem Hunt has now been cut too. Madden NFL 19 maker EA Sports told CNN that the former Kansas City Chiefs running back was removed from the video game and replaced with a generic player who will have the same ratings and attributes. Hunt was released by the Chiefs on November 30th after a video showed the rusher pushing and kicking a woman during a February altercation in Cleveland. No arrests were made, and he has not been charged, though the NFL and local law enforcement are investigating the issue. Video of more incidents involving Hunt have surfaced in the days since. Washington quarterback Alex Smith's recovery from the broken tibia and fibula. Ooh, it was bad. He suffered last month, is reportedly being complicated by an infection. Sad news there for Smith. The original six are well represented on Forbes' latest list of the most valuable NHL teams, with the New York Rangers sitting right on top. The Rangers were valued at $1.55 billion, followed by the Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal Canadiens, Chicago Blackhawks, and of course the Boston Bruins. The other original six team, the Detroit Red Wings, checked in at number 8. The Los Angeles Lakers have worked their way into the middle of the standings in the Western Conference, and LeBron James, of course, is obviously a big reason for that. The team of misfits has plowed through the best conference in American sports and have been a surprise in LeBron's first year in Hollywood. And the Lakers may even now add Carmelo Anthony. Of course, that might not be good. Stay tuned for more there. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for my quick thoughts on the Heisman Trophy presentation. The Heisman Trophy presentation is Saturday night at 8 p.m. in Midtown. Tua and Kyler going toe-to-toe. They split the two big awards this week. That wasn't even a conversation when we were talking about the Heisman, of course, back in October. I think the voters might have been swayed by watching Alabama win without Tua at the end of that championship game. But for me, I still think Tua is the best player in the country on the best team in the land. He has done nothing but impress me since last season's national championship game. I do think the Heisman will be very close. Murray, who was also drafted by the Oakland A's, might very well win it and then go on to play baseball, almost like Charlie Ward did when he went on to go to the NBA after winning the Heisman. My vote goes to Tua. Share your thoughts with me on social media at The Voice, Bobby C. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
And I can't change, even if I try, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Hello, welcome back to Open, everyone. Bueno, La Borinqueña. That's right. It's the name of the comic book created by New York native Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez that showcases a superhero that happens to be a Latina woman. And through this character, Edgardo has been bringing light to many social and political issues, including the recent hurricane in Puerto Rico. And joining us to tell us more about the comic book, we welcome writer and creator of La Borinqueña, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez. Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
¿Cómo está?
Good. I'm glad you made it.
I'm glad I did too. It's a long trip from Brooklyn.
It's all good. Well, welcome to the BX.
Thank you.
And thank you for making your way all the way over here.
Of course.
Yeah, on a Friday morning, no less. We've been trying to get you for a minute now.
I know. I've been busy.
Yeah, you've been very busy, making a lot of noise. Let's talk a little bit about how, I guess this all came about, Borinqueña, as a comic book.
As a comic book, the idea came to me that as Americans, we're really, really obsessed with popular culture. We're more concerned with the box office revenue of blockbuster films than we are with the debt crisis actually affecting 3 million Americans in Puerto Rico. And I thought to myself, what platform can be used to actually bring these humanitarian issues to light? And I thought, well, I'm a nerd. I should use my platform and my resources to create a comic book. And in creating this comic book, I created a conduit to address these issues when I do interviews such as I'm doing now with you, or when I'm doing special events or talking at universities across the United States. And I'm bringing the conversation to larger audiences about the decolonization of Puerto Rico, really addressing the fact that after 101 years under the Jones Act, Puerto Ricanos are American citizens, but more especially after Hurricane Maria, it's been prevalent that we've been always seen and treated as second-class citizens. Right. So using popular culture with this comic book, I bring awareness to this conversation. The character herself is a college student. She's not as well-versed or experienced as I am, but I write the book through the lens of a student because she's learning and seeing and understanding the world through her own eyes and experiencing the debt crisis in Puerto Rico, experiencing climate change, experiencing the discrimination through her own eyes, not through any lecturing or monologuing, but actually experiencing. For example, when she gets to Puerto Rico for a semester abroad to finish her studies, she realizes that the courses that she signed up for are no longer available because the faculty had been laid off. And this is actual facts because many faculty at the University of Puerto Rico have actually lost their jobs and have actually come to the United States, and especially since the debt crisis has fallen over the last 13 years, and more recently with Hurricane Maria, we've seen hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricanos coming, especially here to the Bronx, which is like one of the largest strongholds for the Puerto Rican community in the United States.
So your origins are, you used to work with Marvel Comics, right?
Yeah.
And so now you have your own comic.
Mm-hmm.
How many editions do you have of this?
Well, so far we have two graphic novel series, and then we have the anthology, Reconstruction, which I had the opportunity to produce with the guest appearances of DC comic icons. This year actually also celebrates the 80th anniversary of Superman, which is definitively the archetype of what is a superhero. So I had the pleasure of meeting with Dan DiDio, who's the co-publisher of DC Comics, because he learned of my work just last year, just 2 weeks after Hurricane Maria. And after a great conversation of him pretty much like commending me for the work I was doing as an independent comic artist, I engaged into the conversation of saying, what are we going to do for Puerto Rico? And out of that came this opportunity to produce an anthology that's 200 pages with about 150 contributors, not only heavy hitters in the comic book industry like Frank Miller or Tony Daniels, but also bringing in people from the entertainment industry like Rosario Dawson or Ruben Blades, who actually made their debuts as comic book writers in this book. And this book so far has generated sales of $150,000, which we used to create the La Borinqueña Grants Program. And just last September, we were there in Puerto Rico and distributed 9 grants to local organizations across the entire island because we strongly feel in an effort to really decolonize Puerto Rico, we have to provide the resources to the organizations, to the actual heroes on the island that are doing the work, and let them continue to do the work. Because this past September was the 150th anniversary of El Grito de Lares, the only staged revolution in Puerto Rico. However, Puerto Rico is not an independent nation, but as people in the diaspora, we have the freedom and independence to decide how we choose to help Puerto Rico, and not just as Puerto Ricans, but as Americans. So I chose, along with my family and along with my friends, to go to Puerto Rico with the money we raised from this book to give back to these organizations. And organizations across the entire island, from Boquerón all the way in the southwest of the island to Culebras, which is just off the northeast of the island.
You know, I got to tell you, it's amazing how passionate you are about everything that you're sharing. And what I find most fascinating is that you chose to create a woman superhero.
Well, the women have always been a part of my life. I was raised by a single mother here in the South Bronx. I was also mentored by an incredibly strong woman, Iris Morales, one of the original members of the Young Lord and a long-time activist here in New York City, as well as Dr. Marta Moreno Vega, who founded El Museo del Barrio, and my cousin Lilian de Jesus, who's actually a leader in education reform here in the Bronx. And these women shaped my identity, shaped who I am. And although I appear as a light-skinned Boricua, my family is a full reflection of the Puerto Rican diaspora. There's some as negrita as you and darker. And as a reflection of that, I wanted to embed that into the narrative, embed that into the actual character. And as far as the character was going to be, it was always going to be a woman. There was never a debate in my mind whether it be a man or a woman.
Is she the only Latina superhero that exists?
Well, there are other superheroes that have existed in both Marvel and DC, but she's the first superhero to be unapologetically patriotic. And her origins are the first time a superhero's origins are deliberately linked to the mythology of Puerto Rico.
I also love that you use indigenous language in her development, right?
Well, most comic books are derived either from mythologies or stories from the Bible, from Greek mythology, from Roman mythology, from Norse mythology. But no comic books have actually ever been created that have made a mainstream impact that derive from, well, narratives or mythologies from our experience. And there's so much rich mythology in Puerto Rico. It's a nation whose mythology is rooted in matriarchy. It's rooted in the power of femininity. Our mother goddess is actually Atabe.
Atabe, that's right. And so before we go, what kind of impact has this had on the next generation? Because you designed it in comic book form, which I think is very clever in making sure that the next generation gains interest in their history.
Well, it's something magical because when the project first debuted at the Puerto Rican Day Parade just 2 years ago, and we had a young woman, Stephanie Martin Yanes, who is a lawyer and an activist, she dressed as La Borinqueña, and as she walked up Fifth Avenue during this parade, young people, young black and brown Puerto Rican children, for the first time saw a hero. And I think back when you were a child, the first superhero that you saw, now imagine that first superhero that you saw actually had your patriotic colors, your skin color, your hair texture. So there's something psychologically that's shaping the way children are going to see themselves in the future. My book is a part of the New York Public Library system, as well as the Brooklyn Public Library system, and libraries across the United States, but it's accessible to everybody, so you just don't have to buy it. Well, you can go to any library to borrow the book, or you could actually go to our website, which is la-borinquena.com, or you could come see me this Sunday at the Bronx Museum, or we'll be there all day for the Artisan Market, an event that's actually celebrating adolescents, teens, and trailblazers from the Bronx. And it's giving opportunities to artists and vendors alike to not only like sell their goods during the holidays and give you an alternative to the big stores, and actually give you an alternative to actually support local businesses, but also introduce you to like beautiful stuff that's actually happening here in the Bronx. And that's this Sunday all day at the Bronx Museum.
Awesome. Thank you, Edgardo, for coming all the way from Brooklyn and sharing all this wonderful knowledge with us.
Thank you, Rhina.
And you guys, once again, you can catch Edgardo this Sunday at the Bronx Museum of Art's Artisan Market, Teen and Trailblazers. That's right. That's happening on Sunday, December 9th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And, of course, for more on Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez and La Borinqueña comics, you can visit laborinqueña.com. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk to R&B singer Joe FuEgo. Don't go anywhere.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
I love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. My name is Harvey Lauer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Hello, welcome back to Open Everyone. Our last guest is an R&B artist from Harlem that began his craft with music while being in the choir in his church. And as his love for his music continued to grow, he joined the famous choir of Harlem. And here now to share the pursuit of his dream as an artist, we welcome R&B singer Joe FuEgo.
How are
Hello.
you? How's everything?
Good.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
You know, I got to tell you, right? Just in your appearance and the way you look,
Yes.
it's a beautiful thing to know your origins, as in being a church boy. You know,
Definitely.
I'm sorry, I don't. I'm like a church boy, but you're a church man,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But you're also a teacher.
Definitely am.
And so, what grade do you teach?
Third grade.
You teach in third grade.
Yes.
Now, I don't remember in the third grade ever having a teacher that looked like you.
Really? Yeah, my kids love me.
I
like the
bet.
Cool, I'm like the cool teacher.
I bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
definitely.
And so, no, it's a beautiful thing.
It
Just because like everything is shifting, right?
Yes.
And I think that it's a lot better for our children to have people who are relatable to them, right?
Definitely.
Whereas when I was growing up, all of my teachers were like way older looking, and
Same.
they just felt inaccessible.
Right.
And you feel accessible.
I do.
And on top of that, you're an artist.
Yes.
And on top of that, your origins are from church.
Yes.
So now we're going to talk about your music.
Uh-oh, yeah, let's talk about it. So I'm here promoting my new single, One Shot. Basically, we're talking about living your best life, you know? Not waiting for anything, not waiting for anyone. Just going out straight and go get what you need. So, yeah.
All right, so how long did it take you to give it your best shot?
It took me a little while. It took me to get back into church and things like that, and just to find myself as a person, you know, before I could give it my full push, you know.
So in
like,
that full push, what did that entail, giving it your full push?
My full push, it consisted of a lot of work, just staying focused, things like that, you know, on my craft and everything that I'm working on at the moment.
So when you say staying focused, are you referencing the music side, right? Because here you have your occupation, is
Yes.
that of being a teacher, and then
Yes.
there's your passion, which is that of being a singer, and then of course there's your faith, and so now you've got them all happening together. So when you create your music, are you mindful that you're a third grade teacher?
I am, as well as I try to keep my two lanes separate as well, you know. So I do keep it in mind that I'm a third grade teacher, and that's why I wanted to start out with this song here, more so teaching our kids to live their lives, go for their dreams, and nothing could stop you, you know.
So it's clean lyrics.
Clean lyrics.
And it's inspirational.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Really.
No, that's what I meant,
Yeah.
you know, because I know it's its own genre and people like to hear the raw stuff, but, you know, I don't think
Definitely.
there's anything wrong with using it as a tool to elevate the next generation.
Not at all. And they love One Shot so much. You know, I feel like it brings the kid out of them, you know, it makes them want to push and things like that. So,
Awesome. Joe FuEgo, we're going to get a taste of that now,
Definitely.
right? All right, you guys, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, Joe FuEgo is going to perform his single, One Shot.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Even if I tried, even if I wanted to.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Even if I tried, even if I wanted to.
it's now time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight. Here now to perform his single, One Shot, please welcome Joe FuEgo.
I woke up this morning and I said I'ma chase every dream. I only got one shot, one life, and I ain't gonna dwell on it. FuEgo, let's go. Whoa, whoa. Time to win me, do what me gotta do. From Pondy River, king of the jungle. One time, put your lighters up. One time, put them up if you up. One time. I don't know about you, I gotta shine. Boy, I don't know about you. My life won't pass me by. No button, I press rewind. Come on. One shot, one shot. You only got one life, one life. You better not think twice. Cause life will pass you by. Within a blink of an eye, you got one shot. One shot. You only got one life. One life. You better not think twice. Cause life will pass you by. Within a blink of an eye. Go. One shot, two shots, three. Won't you come follow me? One shot, whoa. Hey. One shot. Let's go, come on. One shot, two shots, hey. Won't you come follow me? One shot, one shot, hey. One time. Since a little boy, hustle for the guap. To be the guap, me only got one shot. To get the odds, Babylon, pump and block. To get the guap, me only got one shot. We'll never stop. We'll never stop. We on a mission on the way up to the top. No man don't play games when it come down to the guap. To be on top, me only got one shot. Let go. I'm listening, my destiny is. Come on. Once the sky's blue, got through the day. Find my way through the maze. I can't move slow. Gotta pick up the pace. Pick up the pace. Can't be a second place. Can't wait the day, cause today is the day. Can't let them haters stop what you're doing. Let's go. Cause you gotta keep moving. Only got one shot. One shot. You only got one life. You better not think twice. Think twice. Cause life will pass you by within a blink of an eye. You got one shot. One shot. You only got one life. One life. You better not think twice. Cause life will pass you by within a blink of an eye. Come on, one shot, two shots, three. Won't you come follow me? One shot. Whoa. Let's go. One shot. Where go? Let's go. One shot, two shots, three. Won't you come follow me? One shot, whoa. Let's go, Fuego. One shot. Hey, one time. Since a little boy, hustle for the guap. To be on top, you only got one shot. Forget the odds, Babylon, pump and block. To get the guap, we only got one shot. We'll never stop. We'll never stop. We on a mission on the way up to the top. The men don't play games when they come down to the guap. To be on top, me only got one shot. Let go. Shot, shot, shot. Hey, shot. You got one life. Go live it. Don't wait for nothing. Let's do it. FuEgo.
Shot, everyone. Joe FuEgo. Woo! Once again, for more on Joe FuEgo music, please be sure to check him out on Instagram and Facebook at Joe FuEgo. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, to your viewers for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. One shot, one life. Joe FuEgo.